What's up, guys? Lundick here and now. Got an audio commentary for you today, and it's NXT Takeover Dallas preview slash predictions. Couple of points. First one, there's a reason why I'm doing this earlier than anticipated. Easter weekend coming up next, and I'm just not going to get time over Easter weekend to do it, and then that's going to bleed into next week, and then I've got WrestleMania preview predictions next week as well. So I'm just doing it now while I've got the time to do it, basically. And obviously, this is the one that I don't do NXT Takeover preview prediction very often, but this is the one I'm really excited for, and so I'm going to do it. Obviously, tied into WrestleMania weekend as well, so it's going to be a pretty big one. So I feel like it just deserves its own video, really. So yeah, NXT Takeover Dallas is on Friday night, April the 1st. Later start time as well, so for you Americans it'll be like 10 o'clock at night, or I think 3 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the afternoon for the other time. I don't know, 5 o'clock, 5 o'clock or 10 o'clock depending on your time zone, I think. I don't know. You Americans have weird time zones, but for the most I think it's going to be like a later time at 10 o'clock at night. I know it's going to be 3 o'clock in the morning for me. We've got 5 outright announced matches. One match that hasn't been announced, but judged by last night's NXT, is probably going to be on the card. So, yeah, this show's going to be awesome, guys. Most people know that I'm an NXT fan. Really enjoy the NXT brand. Most of the takeovers have been pretty damn good. For me, up to now, Takeover Brooklyn back in August before SummerSlam has been the best one so far. But I really do think with the card you've got here, this one's going to top it big style, and this show's going to be definitely better than WrestleMania 32. Obviously WrestleMania 32 is going to have the big arena, the spectacle, and all that good shit. But if you want a wrestling show, this one's going to blow that one away, I think, in my opinion. Yeah, let's just get into the matches now. First match to talk about quickly is a match that isn't even definitely happening yet, but probably is judged by what happened this week on NXT. We got Apollo Crews versus Elias Sampson. Elias Sampson's one of the newer people in NXT. He debuted a couple of months ago doing the drifter gimmick, which is it's all right, but I'm not really feeling it yet, to be honest with you. It hasn't quite gone down as well as I thought it might. It's been just okay. Don't think the fans have really taken to it that much. And I think Elias Sampson's an alright ring performer. Nothing special, but not terrible either. Yeah, it's just kind of been there and been like for me. It's done okay, but okay is probably about it. Really, I would say. We got and this is NXT, and he carries a guitar at the ring and doesn't even hit people with a guitar over the head of it. How stupid is that? A wrestler with a guitar who doesn't hit his opponents over the head with the said guitar. And Apollo Crews is really the odd man out, and is out of the more top tier NXT stars for this takeover. All the other NXT, all the other more top tier NXT guys are locked into matches, so Apollo Crews is really out in the cold now. He did a segment this week on NXT where he ran in and attacked Elias Sampson after the match, and that's probably enough just to set up a match here. So Apollo Crews kind of had a slow start at 2016. He had that great match with Finn Balor early February, but hasn't been involved in any of the main storylines or feuds as of yet. I'm assuming once the likes of Zayn and maybe even Balor move up the main roster, then Apollo Crews will get a renewed focus. Possibly push towards the NXT title later in the year. I'm a decent enough fan of Apollo Crews. I think he has a lot going for him. He's got the superstar look. He has a great body and all that. So which should satisfy the fans who prefer that kind of look and believability and all that. tremendous athlete, great in-ring performer. So do a lot of great moves and all that. But I think Apollo's big weakness is his mic skills. I mean, he's fairly bland promo guy. And I think that's what he really needs to. If he's going to make it bigger in WWE, I think that's what he really needs to work on. He really needs to work on his promo skills. And anyway, so this match should be okay. This probably actually out of all the matches, probably the least interesting one in the card by far. And if it probably won't be a bad match, it'll probably just be like decent, average, really. I mean, I'm only assuming this match happens. I mean, it hasn't actually been confirmed or anything like that, but so I imagine it to be a fairly quick match. Apollo Crews goes over, and then that's that one really. So now onto the 5 announced matches of the night. These matches definitely happen, and what a card to go through. And let's start with the NXT Tag Team Championships. The champions Revival, Dash Wilder and Scott Dawson, defend against the team of American Alpha. That's Jason Jordan and Chad Gable. I mean, and for me, this would be the absolute perfect opening match too. I would definitely put this match on first to open the show up. Open the show up with a bang. I mean, the NXT Tag Division's actually got quite a lot better over the last few months. I think it's been quietly developing nicely. I mean, you've had Enzo and Cass aren't on this card. Well, they might be on one of the dark matches, but looks like Enzo and Cass are finally moving on from NXT, going to the main roster after, possibly the night after WrestleMania. And then you got underneath that, you got Blake and Murphy, the Vaudevillians. But focus on these two teams for a moment. I mean, Revival, Scott Dawson, Dash Wilder. These came out of nowhere, really. Just randomly started teaming up. Started to get noticed a little bit, and then in a relatively short amount of time became the NXT Tag Team Champions. I mean, I really like these guys. I mean, I think they're a nice throwback to an older era. Got like an old school grittiness about them, which I really, really enjoy. They've got a nice old Minnesota Wrecking Crew, Arn Anderson, Tully Blanchard type of vibe. Yeah, I mean, they're not the flashiest, not the best looking, but they're just damn solid wrestlers, and then they do stuff like using the tag rope and cutting off the other half of the ring, and little old school tag team tricks that became a lost art over the years that these guys are trying to bring back. I think they really made a name for themselves in the Dusty Rhodes Memorial Tag Team Classic with a pretty good performance in the semi-finals against Finn Balor and Samoa Joe, and then shortly thereafter they won the NXT Tag Team titles from the Vaudevillians. And then going from there, really, I mean, yeah, obviously they got a taste of the big time a few weeks ago at Roadblock when they wrestled on the Live Network special against Enzo and Cass. So these guys have definitely come in a bunch, but have to question how they'll fare on the main roster. I mean, as you've seen over the last couple of years, it's been very hit and miss with NXT guys. You've had people come up and be relatively successful like Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins and all that. But then you've got like the flops, like the Ascension being the most notable one. Absolutely dominant tag team on NXT and all that. Come out of the main roster being treated like a joke. And most recently Tyler Breeze, very successful on NXT. Hasn't happened from on the main roster yet. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens to these guys. I mean, I personally think one of those situations where they're good on NXT, but when they go to the main roster, they won't get used well at all. I mean, both are quite short. Both don't possess great mic skills. Don't have a particularly menacing or good look or anything like that. So yeah. And also, I think don't see either guy breaking out as a singles guy either. So, and yeah, but I really like them. I think they're a great tag team, and now they've got great challenges in them. American Alpha, Chad Gable, Jason Jordan. Really, really, really like these guys. I mean, prior to teaming up with Chad Gable, Jason Jordan was like the most generic guy that was ever generic. I mean, you honestly, he really, really just so generic. Like, cookie cut a WWE type of wrestler. I mean, tall, muscular body, clean cut, good athlete, solid performer, but with a bland personality. I mean, he'd been around the NXT WWE system for quite a long time. I think he's even been at NXT as far back as 2012, if I recall rightly. Tried a lot of things, never really find his niche at all. Really just floundering to say the least. Was probably a guy that probably wouldn't have made it the main roster. And then Chad Gable came along, and it was like a marriage made in heaven. Chad Gable, also another amateur wrestler like Jason Jordan, but he's got really good charisma and personality, and he's got like a goofy personality, and then Jason Jordan's like the straight man, and it somehow works. I mean, Chad Gable's a guy I see quite a bit of potential in. Really good in-ring performer, but just as important as that, he's got the personality to pull it off. And then him and Jason Jordan just started teaming up, and it just worked. The dynamic was there, the chemistry was there right from the get-go. It just worked, and the fans really got into them as well, which I thought was awesome. In a relatively short amount of time, Jason Jordan and Chad Gable got really over the NXT audience. And like Dawson and Wilder Revival, made a name for themselves in the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic Tournament back in October. In a great showing in the semi-finals against Baron Corbin and Rhino. And since then, really, the popularity just grew and grew. They won them all. They are really over tag teaming him. So, Enzo and Cass about to move up. I think it was a no-brainer to put Revival against American Alpha here. American Alpha became #1 contenders a couple of weeks ago, and then here we are getting the match. And I expect this match to be very, very good. Probably won't be great because if it's an opener, they'll probably book it sensibly where they deliberately don't have it overshadow the rest of the show. But I think it'll be one of those matches that's perfect for an opener. Hot match to get the crowd into it. Probably nice, fast paced stuff and all that good shit. So yeah, I'm expecting a really good match, and then for a prediction, I'm probably going to go with new tag team champions Jordan and Gable, American Alpha to defeat Revival to take the NXT Tag Team Champions, because I just think that'd be a perfect way to open up the show with a hot opener, with a popular act winning the titles and in the opening match. So I think Jason Jordan and Chad Gable definitely deserve it as well. So yeah, American Alpha to go over and win the tag team titles, and then next match is going to be a debut of a greatest man that ever lived, Austin Aries, taking on Baron Corbin. So now Austin Aries is the latest in a line of indie stars signing with WWE. I mean, obviously, Austin Aries has been around for like about 12 years now, making a splash in Ring of Honor in 2004. Being the own, actually no, I think that's wrong. I think he was 2-time Ring of Honor World Champion, but I think Jay Lethal might have done it as well. So feel free to correct me if I'm wrong on that, guys. But I think I'm right about that. I think it's only Austin Aries and Jay Lethal who have been 2-time Ring of Honor champions, and obviously it's kind of ironic. 5 years ago, Austin Aries was on the brink of retirement, and then was left Ring of Honor, had really nothing, was rejected for WWE Tough Enough in 2011, and then in one last gasp of his career, signed with TNA, got over really well as the X Division champion, and then by July 2012, would beat Bobby Roode in the main event of, I think it was Destination X, to become the TNA World Champion. So for the last few years, been one of the main guys in TNA. Left TNA last year. People weren't sure what he was going to do. Was he going to go back to Ring of Honor? Don't think many people are expecting to go to WWE, but I think times have changed over the last few years. Indie guys that you thought would never go to WWE have gone to WWE. So, and then finally last month Austin Aries finally debuted with the WWE, which on NXT, which I think is a great spot for him. Only to be attacked by Baron Corbin on his debut, which I thought was awesome. I thought it was absolutely tremendous, and I think they should just make this a running gag for the time being. A big name indie star signs with WWE, goes on NXT, Baron Corbin just beats him up. Because I just feel like that works. I mean, and Baron Corbin's definitely a guy who's come on quite well over the last year. I mean, you think Roman Reigns is hated by the IWC, YWC? Just wait till this guy comes on the main roster. I'm telling you, Baron Corbin is the future IWC whipping boy. He's a big guy, 6'8". Former NFL star, played in the Super Bowl. Corbin started off on NXT doing the whole squash match thing as a babyface as well. Started off as a babyface in 2014. Was doing well at the start, and then after a while, fans just turned on him. Wasn't really interested in because on NXT's Full Sail's a fairly smarky crowd, so obviously that Baron Corbin wasn't really getting over with them. And then to WWE and Baron Corbin's credit, he completely turned that around. Turned him heel, and he started doing the whole indie hating gimmick where he was like talking about how he's an athlete and all that, and how he doesn't give a shit about where all these guys have been and all that. But all these beloved indie guys like a Sami Zayn, like a Samoa Joe have been and done. They're all nerds and all that, so Baron Corbin has done well at doing his character up, developing his persona over the last year. Steadily improving the ring as well. I mean, guy's still pretty limited, yes, but at the end of the day, NXT is still a developmental brand. I mean, yes, NXT is a lot bigger now than it ever has been and all that, and the tours and all that stuff, but everyone at NXT goes to go to the main roster, so a guy like Baron Corbin's in NXT to improve, get better, polish his skills before he goes to the main roster, and he's doing well now. I mean, put him in the ring with a lot of these veterans, helped him out as well. Facing like Samoa Joe, Apollo Crews, and then now Austin Aries. So this is going to be Austin Aries' first match in WWE, and it's a great way to do it in my opinion. This should be an entertaining big man, little man match. I mean, like I say, Baron Corbin's improved a lot in the ring, and obviously Austin Aries' first WWE match is going to be extremely determined to impress, isn't he? So, I don't think this will be a great match or anything like that, but definitely should be an entertaining match. So Ian and I am looking forward to it. So this is the fairly hard match to predict because you can see it on both sides. On one hand, it would be kind of stupid for Austin Aries to come in and lose his first match. But on the other hand, Baron Corbin's really going to start need to get some big wins soon. I mean, for the most part, he's lost a lot of his big matches. But like, yeah, I think a guy like Baron Corbin, they need to start pushing him towards the NXT title after Takeover. Really need to get him in that main event scene. So I'm really struggling to predict the winner here, but as a prediction, I'm going to put my neck on the line and go with Baron Corbin to defeat Austin Aries. Now, next up for the NXT Women's Championship, champion Bayley defending against Asuka. And this is one of 3 potentially awesome matches on the night. I mean, here you've got, out of a 6-match card, you've got 3 matches that are going to be potentially amazing. And this is the first of them, so the NXT Women's Division, obviously, look at WrestleMania and look at what they built on the NXT Women's brand is doing now. I mean, you got Charlotte, Sasha Banks, and Becky Lynch all in a big triple threat match for the WWE Divas title at WrestleMania now. They were all on, and there were 3 of the 4 horsewomen. The other 4 horsewomen still on NXT. Bayley, and she's really done an excellent job of carrying the women's division since those girls left for the main roster last summer. A lot of people think that Bayley's the most over character on NXT, And she might well be, actually, to be fair. I mean, as for the NXT crowd, she's a truly over baby face. And she's an absolutely awesome face as well, in my opinion. I mean, I really enjoy Bayley's work. I mean, just something about her personality that's so infectious and makes you feel happy about yourself and all that sort of thing. Um, she's done really well, and over the last several months, she really has become a ring general. I mean, she's had entertaining matches with pretty much anyone she's been against. She had a she even had an entertaining match with Eva Marie a few months ago. Now, granted, there were loads of shortcuts and all that, but she pulled it off. And then Takeover London, she carried the pretty green Nia Jax to an entertaining match. Had a good match with Carmella back in, I think it was January. Could have been early February, but it was whatever was the first one in that big, when he did the big arena in Florida tapings. Can't remember what the name of the arena was now, but yeah. But now, it's fair to say that Bayley has by far the toughest challenge to date in Asuka. I mean, with Charlotte, Sasha and Becky all going to the main roster, WWE signed Japanese women wrestler Kana, changed her to Asuka and give her a pretty big push on NXT. I mean, Asuka is fucking awesome, and she's a woman I'll be both sexually attracted to and incredibly terrified by. I mean, sort of person, Asuka, that I really want to have sex with, but I'd be too scared in case I didn't satisfy her, and then she just beat the shit out of me, because she looks like the sort of woman who would do that. You either sexually satisfy her or you get the shit kicked out of you. And I have to admit, I wouldn't like my chances of sexually satisfying her, but yeah, she's been a tremendous fit for NXT. I mean, she's just so badass and intense, and everything she looks fucking awesome. Like her strikes and the big moves and all that. Apparently I was reading that she's undefeated since she's arrived on NXT, so perfect choice for face Bayley. She showed good chemistry with Emma in the past. Yeah, so it's face versus face and all that. You can see that the feud's only just begun. No, I mean, this will probably be this will be the first chapter in a pretty long rivalry. I imagine this rivalry will go to the next takeover whenever that is. Assuming late May, early June, something like that. Then if they go back to Brooklyn this year, I don't know if they will or not. They might do a takeover Brooklyn too, but they could maybe even stretch this feud out of the summer. But yeah, obviously, so Asuka's only became the number one contender on last week's NXT, so obviously this isn't the end of the feud, it's probably just the start. I really liked what happened as well when Asuka was named the number one contender, and then Bayley sold. The expression on Bayley's face told, "Uh-oh, I'm going to get killed here." So it's not like Bayley laughed the threat off or anything like that. She sold like the damn she's worried about this, and she fucking well should be as well. So yeah, so really excited for what this feud can do. And this match, now people have asked me, do I think this match will be at the top of the Bayley Sasha Banks matches, and I'm thinking, technically as a match, technically for pure match quality, it can match those matches for certain. I mean, I'm actually quite certain it could do that, but doesn't have the emotion and the storyline and the characters behind the Bayley and Sasha Banks rivalry. I mean, so obviously the story behind it and all that, Bayley's story and facing the boss and all that, Sasha Banks, the whole Bayley chasing the NXT Women's title and all that, that was really just as part of the match as the actual in-ring action. So the emotion and the storytelling won't be the same as the Bayley Sasha Banks matches, but as technically as the match and all that, it can certainly match it. I mean, not sure how long these girls will get. Hopefully they'll get around 18 to 20 minutes, something like that. Hopefully an absolute bare minimum of 15 minutes. I'd be disappointed if it got less than 15, to be honest with you. But I expected to get 15 to 18, something like that. Obviously, this match should be great. I mean, Asuka will be on fire, and Bayley's selling. Because Bayley's selling's absolutely world class. So hopefully she'll do an outstanding job of selling Asuka's offense. And this match is a really tough one to pick as well. I mean, this is the difference between the NXT Dallas matches and the WrestleMania matches. I mean, obviously I'll go more into detail next week, but you're looking at the WrestleMania matches and you can pretty much predict most of them quite easily, which I'll certainly do next week. But for this one, it's like seemed a lot harder in my opinion to predict this because this match really can go either way. I mean, it would make sense for either woman to go over, but I'm going to predict Bayley squeak a victory out. I mean, I expect this match Asuka will dominate most of the match and look really, really strong. They'll do a thing where Bayley not so much wins the match, but she survives. I mean, she gets a lucky shot, she gets a lucky pin or something like that, or something like that. She won't win at the Bayley belly, I think, but maybe she'll do something like she did at Nia Jax to Takeover London, where she won with a guillotine choke and choked her out. She might do something similar like that to Asuka, so they'll do it so Bayley wins, but they'll sell the fact that Bayley took an absolute arse whooping. And the speculation Bayley will come up the main roster after WrestleMania, but I don't think she will yet. I mean, it'd be great for her, but I think the NXT Women's Division needs her right now, so I see Bayley being more of a summer type call-up, like a July, August sort of call-up, and a April call-up, so yeah, I'm going to go with Bayley to retain the NXT Women's Championship now. Next match is for the NXT Championship, but almost positive it won't be the main event. I mean, main event for me is going to be something else, which I'll talk to in a minute. And that's the NXT Championship match between Finn Balor and Samoa Joe. This is another match that's potentially awesome. I mean, this is a rematch of Takeover London where Balor and Joe main event that show and Finn Balor retained the NXT Championship. I mean, so they did a nice little thing of getting here. I mean, they've actually built the anticipation for about a good 6-week period on NXT where they had a great chance to be the number one contender. Started out with Samoa Joe, Sami Zayn and Baron Corbin all laying claim to become the number one contender for the NXT Championship. Samoa Joe felt he deserved another shot at Balor. Sami Zayn decided to become the first 2-time NXT champion after making his big return. And Baron Corbin after defeating Apollo Crews to Takeover London. So a match was then set a couple of weeks later, a triple threat number one contenders match. Samoa Joe versus Sami Zayn versus Baron Corbin. And then in that match what they did, they had Sami Zayn put on a sharpshooter. And then Samoa Joe put on a crossface on Baron Corbin. So both guys had the submission move on Corbin. And then Baron Corbin tapped out. So it was confusing who got the fall, but it Samoa Joe, was it Sami Zayn? And that's how NXT went off the air. So William Regal then, obviously Baron Corbin lost, so Baron Corbin was out the equation. So William Regal made a match between Sami Zayn and Samoa Joe a couple of weeks later on NXT. And then a tremendous match there with that match becoming a double pin. So once again, 2 number one contendership matches, 2 indecisive finishes. Regal had a decision to make and then made a decision that 2 weeks later, I think it was, that Sami Zayn and Samoa Joe would wrestle in a 2 out of 3 falls match, which for me, the absolute front runner for WWE match of the year so far. Although that may get topped on this show for the next match, but and it's a match that lasted the entire episode of NXT as well, so about 45 minutes of just tremendous action. I mean, Sami Zayn selling that match was like Ricky Steamboat, like. So Sami Zayn looked like the closest thing WWE had to a Ricky Steamboat, that, right? Samoa Joe was on fire with his intensity and all that. And after an amazing match, Samoa Joe won to finally become the number one contender for the NXT Championship and Finn Balor. Samoa Joe for me has been absolutely, he's on fire right now. I mean, this is the Samoa Joe that I loved 10 years ago. I mean, this is the Samoa Joe that I loved there when he was Ring of Honor champion and all that. This is the Samoa Joe that was this like the undefeated Samoa Joe of TNA in 2005 and 2006. What a comeback Samoa Joe's had in his career. After, let's face it, having a stagnant in the last few years in TNA. I mean, TNA pretty much killed Samoa Joe around 2010, and ever since then, his last few years in TNA weren't pretty unmotivated, put on a lot of weight and didn't really care. The whole vibrant, dynamic performer he had been before seemed all but lost, and then career revival, signed with WWE last year, debuting at NXT Unstoppable last May, and yeah, he's really just got himself back on track, got himself in his best shape he's been in a decade, and the old Samoa Joe's well and truly back. I mean, he's having an absolutely outstanding run in NXT right now. And now he's getting the big championship match with Finn Balor. I mean, Finn Balor's been the NXT champion since July. Win the championship with Kevin Owens at Beast from the East. And I've got something to tell you guys. A confession that might get hated from the IWC, YWC. I might get a lot of angry messages on here about this, but here it goes. I think Finn Balor's NXT title reign's been overrated. There, I said it. Oh, I finally said it. Right. God, thank God I finally got that off my chest. I don't think Finn Balor's NXT title reign's been that great. I mean, I don't know. I think there's just been something missing. It hasn't been a bad title reign, but I honestly thought Kevin Owens' reign and Adrian Neville's reign far better reigns than this one. Let's take the Neville reign, which is a similar kind of reign to the Finn Balor one. I don't know, I just feel like Adrian Neville's NXT title reign's been a lot better than Finn Balor's. I mean, Balor's hasn't been bad, but I don't know. I just don't think there's been a great feud behind it or a tremendous story. It's been like I don't know, I just haven't really felt it at all. I mean, been some great matches in that title reign, like the Kevin Owens ladder match, like the Samoa Joe takeover match, but I don't know, I just haven't really felt Finn Balor's NXT champion as much as a lot of people. And in fact, I was very much an advocate of getting the title off of Finn Balor at NXT London. And here's another one, guys. Another thing I just need to say, and this is going to be quite a big confession for the IWC, YWC. I think Finn Balor's slightly overrated too. Oh, God, did I just say that? Yes, I did. I'm going to say it again just to make sure everyone caught that and make sure they heard it right. I think Finn Balor's slightly overrated. There, I said it. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like Finn Balor. I'm a fan of Finn Balor. I think he's an absolutely tremendous in-ring performer. Obviously, one of the best WWE has to offer, but and I really love the demon thing as well. I think that's great, but I just find him as a persona quite bland. I mean, his character doesn't stretch much beyond I'll take on anyone at any time because I'm Finn Balor and I'm a competitor. So yeah, it's just like his promos are just promos are really bland in my opinion. Pretty much character stretches when he's a competitor. He's got the Irish accent, he's a competitor and all that, and yeah, I mean, I much prefer Sami Zayn in that character. I think Samoa Joe's probably my favourite guy in NXT right now. So yeah, I really do like Finn Balor, but I do think he is slightly overrated by the IWC, YWC. I mean, with the Bullet Club coming in, maybe he'll then show his personality a bit more, because I feel if he's going to make it to the level that a lot of people in the IWC and possibly even officials in WWE expect him to be. He really needs to work on his promos and personality, because that is by far the weakest part of his arsenal. And obviously, with the Demon thing, they do it at special events, but they can't do it too much, because if they do it all the time, and it gets overexposed and less special. So yeah. So first I'll talk about the match and then a prediction, and then obviously address something else that might happen in relation to this match. So I think this match will be excellent. I think it's a good idea to put on before Zayn and Nakamura, because I think if we put on Zayn and Nakamura before this, it won't be able to top it, and crowd will possibly be burnt out by what's bound to be an exciting match there. So this match will be great. Probably about the same level as the London match, if not possibly better. So yeah, I expect at least as good as matches he had in London. Hopefully better now. Like the Bailey Asuka match, this is another match that's really difficult to predict. This is another match that can go either way in my opinion. So I'm gonna go with because this is really tough. I've changed my mind a couple of times, because I do believe whoever loses this match is going to the main roster the night after WrestleMania. So with that being said, I'm now going to predict Samoa Joe defeats Finn Balor to become the new NXT champion. Now let's address the Bullet Club. I mean, obviously Carl Anderson, Doc Gallows are signed and sealed, and for me, either way, whether it's here, whether it's WrestleMania, or whether it's the post-WrestleMania Raw, I'm pretty damn certain that the Bullet Club are going to debut WrestleMania weekend at some point. Now, will it be here at NXT Takeover? That I'm not sure on. They could, granted, they absolutely could do that, but my gut tells me that probably not. They'll probably all, like Balor, Gallows, and Anderson will debut. Whatever name they're going to come with, probably either Balor Club, or I've even heard Bulletproof, that they'll probably debut the night after WrestleMania in some form or fashion on the post-WrestleMania Raw. I mean, you get the big call-ups, don't you, every year? I mean, last year it was Neville, 2 years ago it was Paige, so you all seem to get a big surprise the night after WrestleMania. And this will probably what it'll be this year, because I have heard that Gallows and Anderson are not doing the NXT thing and going straight to the main roster. So Finn Balor coming up with them in the faction, probably either Balor Club or maybe Bulletproof or whatever it is, because I'm pretty sure we don't have the rights to use the name the Bullet Club, because New Japan is still using it for one, and obviously copyright infringement and all that sort of thing. WWE aren't going to risk a lawsuit for no reason. So yeah, so I'm going to predict that the Bullet Club guys come up the night after WrestleMania with Finn Balor. This will be Finn Balor losing the NXT title to Samoa Joe, then moving to the main roster, and let's see where things go after that. So now the big main event, and one of the biggest matches, if not the biggest match in NXT history, and that's it's a swan song for one guy and a debut for another guy. So Sami Zayn taking on the debut and King of Strong Style Shinsuke Nakamura, and holy fuck, what a main event WWE's where NXT's come up with here for this show. I mean, honestly, what a main event they've come up with. I mean, Shinsuke Nakamura signed with WWE earlier this year. Part of the big New Japan exodus, we saw AJ Styles leave, which you saw Anderson and Gallows leave, but the big Japanese star that WWE signed with Shinsuke Nakamura, and here he is. He's making his official debut April 1st, NXT Takeover Dallas. His opponent is outgoing Sami Zayn, who in my opinion, Sami Zayn's probably the greatest wrestler in NXT. Well, in NXT history. I mean, I know NXT's only been around in this form since 2012, but still, For me, Sami Zayn in a lot of ways exemplifies what NXT is. Um, yeah, I mean, obviously Sami Zayn's NXT run speaks for itself. I mean, notable rise with Cesaro, being the guy that stole the show at the very first live match in the stole the show at NXT Arrival versus Cesaro. Then the great chase towards the NXT Championship last year, culminating in that classic match at Takeover Our Revolution with Adrian Neville, where he won the NXT title, getting turned up by Kevin Owens, the big feud of Kevin Owens, and then he got called up the main roster last year to accept John Cena's open challenge in Montreal. Got a shoulder, injured his shoulder, firing up the crowd of all things. And then obviously they took 8 months off, and now he's back, but returned to beat the Royal Rumble and eliminated Kevin Owens. Then making his official main roster debut about 3 weeks ago now. Sami Zayn. So Sami Zayn's now a full-time member of the main roster, and this is like his NXT farewell. Because they do that sometimes. Like Kevin Owens came up in May of last year, but didn't officially leave NXT till Takeover Brooklyn. Same thing with Sasha Banks. Came up in July, didn't officially leave NXT till Takeover Respect. So this is pretty much the case with Sami Zayn here. And did WWE give him a going away present? I mean, he gets a debut match with Shinsuke Nakamura. I mean, Nakamura's all signed, sealed, and delivered now. I mean, there's someone on here who's very excited about that. I'm sure he'll comment on here as well. Tell me how excited he is. But a lot of Japanese wrestling fans are so excited to see Nakamura. One of my subscribers in particular is probably going to have a wank when he watches this match. But sorry, I'm kidding. Don't take that seriously. Talking about you, Prince of Strongest House. So don't. I was joking with you. But yeah, obviously, what a way to debut as well. I mean, this for me has kind of have a Samoa Joe, Kenta Kobashi type of vibe in 2005. Obviously, Kobashi was the big star from Japan, coming into Ring of Honor to face Samoa Joe, who for me was at the time was probably the top guy in ROH history, and they had an epic encounter then. Kind of feels the same here. Sami Zayn, the top guy in NXT over the years, facing him. The big star from Japan, Shinsuke Nakamura. Now it's going to be very interesting to see how Nakamura does in WWE. I mean, the guy, it's going to be interesting because let's face it, WWE's track record of using Japanese wrestlers is fucking horrible, to be honest with you, isn't it, really? But at the same time, WWE's hiring policies seem to have changed over the last few years. I mean, do you really think like 5 years ago, a guy like Nakamura would have got a sniff in WWE? I really don't think so. Obviously, Nakamura, tremendous in-ring performer, but does that Japanese strong style really translate well to WWE? That's questionable, so it'd be interesting to see how Nakamura adapts to the more entertainment style of the WWE. And obviously, like promo wise, I mean, Nakamura can speak pretty decent English, so he can at least give you a decent promo, but can maybe find a manager for him or something like that, or book him in a way that he doesn't really need to say much and just let his actions speak louder than his words. That might be the way to go. And obviously the question is how WWE will use him. I mean, pretty confident as long as he's on NXT that for however long he's on NXT, WWE will allow him just to be Shinsuke Nakamura, won't mess with his gimmick too much and all that. But for me, when he goes to the main roster, it's going to count. Will Vince and Kevin Dunn get him? Will Vince McMahon like him? Will he get the typical silly Japanese gimmick that does Vince's stereotypes of Japanese people still exist? So it's going to be really interesting to see. I mean, and I feel like with Nakamura and Atomi on the roster now, and obviously Asuka as well, if these people are successful in WWE, particularly on the main roster, because I think that's more important what they do on the main roster than anything. If those guys are successful, that can open doors for other Japanese performers to make the mark in WWE. But yeah, so then this match of the year, just throwing that one out there. This will probably be the match of the year in WWE by far, in my opinion. For me, so far, the greatest match in NXT history is Sami Zayn versus Cesaro from a rival. Expect this match to top that. Just should be utterly amazing. I mean, you know Nakamura's going to be up for a big style, wanting to make a big impression, and NXT is going to let him do that. Obviously, Sami Zayn's built a reputation on NXT, and he'll want to leave on an absolute high, won't he? I think so. This is going to be balls to the walls, and if I was WWE, I would just say fuck it, give these guys as much time as they want. I mean, obviously the show's scheduled for 2 hours, but they own their own network, so if they overrun, so be it. I mean, they did that at Takeover, didn't they? Brooklyn. That show overran by about 20 minutes, if I recall rightly, so fuck it. If these guys need 30, 35, 40 minutes to do the thing, just let them. Don't put the shackles on them, just let them have the best match they possibly can, and if they do that, then we're having an absolute classic for me. Could possibly be a 5-star match. It'd be cool if it was, though, because if it was, that would be the first genuine 5-star match in NXT history. So this match would be amazing, and for me, this has to go on last. I mean, for me, this match feels bigger than the NXT Championship match. I mean, you've got the big star, big star in NXT, terms of NXT, and Sami Zayn, and his last match against a big star, international star like Shinsuke Nakamura. So if they put this match like before the main event is not going to have a chance of topping it, I don't think. So yeah, now as a prediction, this one's fairly simple. Nakamura to go over, I think. That one's fairly obvious in my opinion. It would just make a lot of sense for that to happen, for Nakamura to defeat Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn then puts Nakamura or goes to the main roster, because it'd be pretty stupid to bring in Nakamura in such a high profile match and have him losing his first match, wouldn't it? I would think so. Pretty certain Nakamura's going over here. So yeah, 47 minutes. I was only expecting to go about 30, but whatever. So yeah, so that's NXT Takeover Dallas preview / predictions. WrestleMania ones will be out probably the middle of next week, probably Wednesday, Thursday. Mouth for now, guys, and peace.